Gotham's grind when the Qliphoth tree blooming to patriarchy collapsed in on itself. Like a failed startup, Part 1. The vibe shift is real. Y'all welcome to the intersectional psychic Thunderdomi. Aight, listen up, fam. Let's fucking go. You sitting in some Bushwick cafe that smell like gentrification and white guilt, scrolling through mutuals posting through its last runway, Mario sass, drinking oat milk nonsense that costs more than your granddaddy's first car, and you feel it. That psychic download that hit harder than your third espresso shot. The creeping realization that the whole goddamn stimulation is glitching, and you can't tell if you're oppressed, an oppressor, or just tired of everybody's shit. This ain't your daddy's comic book bullshit. This is the ultimate intersectional struggle playing out across the psychic landscape of our collapsing late-stage capitalist hellscape. It's a live-action, multi-billion-dollar manifestin war between archetypes navigating the complex intersections of race, class, gender, and sexual orientation, while trying to figure out if they're smashing the patriarchy or just being problematic in new and innovative ways. The NPCs see a rich white guy in a bat costume fighting a clown. Those of us who've actually read our bell hooks and our neckland understand this is the ultimate representation of what Day 09A would call the Sinister Dialectic. But what we call that moment when your toxic king energy and your desire to smash the patriarchy start having a mid-off in your group chat, or in the intersectional Qliphoth. Gotham swimming in what the Temple of Day Black Light would call anti-cosmic saturation. But what we call that feeling when you realize your gender is a social construct. But your student loans are very real, and the whole system is basically a pyramid scheme designed to keep you confused and compliant. While these other cities out here vibing on Malkuth through Yesod energy, Gotham's stuck in pure Qliphoth juice, the demonic inversion of the Kabbalistic tree of life, where everything is upside down and inside out, much like capitalism and patriarchy. The architecture, literal physical manifestations of Qliphothic spheres, De Niro's swimming in Behemoth's addiction energy, Arkham Asylum radiating Satriel's madness frequencies, and a whole city a case study in what Sylvia Federetti would call the reproduction of everyday life. If everyday life included getting your back broke by a man who definitely didn't read the gender theory you posted in your Instagram story. The Qliphothic economics of intersectional despair. Let's break down the unit economics of this intersectional hellscape. Customer acquisition cost, your literal soul, your entire identity politicized. Lifetime value, about 350 existential crises, constant gender confusion, monthly recurrent revenue, paid in trauma, mimetic warfare, and performative activism, churn, mostly physical, sometimes metaphysical, always emotional, burn rate, literal flames, honey, and also your will to live, engagement metrics, through the roof, everybody participating in the grand magical working of navigating systemic oppression, the whole city operating on what W. Combinator would call maximum viable corruption, with DAO 9A, Sinister Dialectic, as the growth strategy, all while trying to figure out if they're being good allies or just perpetuating the system through their liberal reformism. Part 2. Bruce, my parents dead. Wayne, the ultimate toxic masculinity. Founder Grindset, my guy Bruce out here, with the ultimate my parents are dead personality trait, which is just male-coded language for I have trauma, but instead of going to therapy, I'm going to become a billionaire furry with severe emotional constipation. The ultimate I can fix her energy directed at an entire city that's clearly beyond saving, which is peak patriarchal savior complex behavior wrapped in liberal guilt. The trauma grinds at W capitalism. His whole travel the world phase. That ain't no gap year, that's him engaging in what the Rosicrucians would call the great work, or what we call emotional avoidance through Orientalist martial arts tourism. He out here appropriating Eastern spiritual practices while refusing to deal with his white boy trauma in healthy ways. Basically, the physical manifestation of cultural appropriation meeting emotional unavailability. The League of Shadows ain't just terrorists, they were Combinator, the most black-pilled accelerator program ever, teaching what the 09A calls individuation through criminal praxis. But what we recognize as that feeling when you realize even ancient secret societies are just pyramid schemes with better outfits and more problematic power dynamics. When Ra's al Ghul drops that, become more than just a man line, he teaching what the arcanum of Baphomet calls transcendence through transgression. But what we recognize as toxic masculinity, wrapped in mystical language to make it sound deep instead of just emotionally stunted and probably misogynistic. The bat signal is performative activism. When Commissioner Gordon hit deadlight, that's planetary scale evocation magic through pure symbolic resonance, or what we call that moment when institutions finally notice there's a problem, but instead of addressing root causes, they call a rich white guy to put a band-aid on systemic issues. It's camp, it's dramatic, and it's given white savior complex, but make it fashion while completely ignoring the structural inequalities that created the problem in the first place. The tech stack of toxic masculinity. Let's break down Bruce's technical infrastructure through an intersectional lens. Front. Molded rubber and theatricality, pure Austin Osman, spare sigil work meeting performance masculinity. Back end, alchemical negredo to rubedo pipeline, aka processing trauma through violence instead of therapy. API bat signal as public evocation endpoint rich white guy hotline for when the pores get too rowdy. Database, collective urban trauma stored in Qliphothic servers, basically Twitter but with more crime. Hosting, pure causal energy from the great beyond and generational wealth. CDN, crime alley. Content delivery network, systemic inequality as a service. He basically deal with his own technical debt, aka his feelings, and completely ignoring how his wealth and privilege are products of the very system he's supposedly fighting. Part 3. The Joker, that gender fluid chaos energy. Now this, my guy, the Joker understand the fundamental truth. Everything is girl dick confusing, chaotic, we call society. This is cishet normal. He not a villain. He that one friend who took too much acid and achieved enlightenment through Discordian principles and chaos magic, while simultaneously deconstructing the gender binary through sheer force of will and better makeup skills than your fave beauty guru. When he say we live in a society, he's spitting facts about the prison of social constructs while wearing a purple suit that challenges traditional gender norms and probably costs more than your entire wardrobe. He out here proving that under late capitalism, we're all just clowns in different colored makeup performing gender and class for an audience that stopped crying years ago. A cosmic Satanism, queer accelerationism, the Joker represent pure anti-cosmic Satanism. The belief that reality itself is a prison that needs shattering, much like the gender binary and the capitalist hegemony. His multiple choice backstories, advanced pseudo-narration technique that's given gender is fluid, and so is my origin story sweaty, and also everything is made up and the points don't matter. He the human embodiment of Nick Land's death drive mixed with Judith Butler's gender performance theory. The part of the system that wants to see the system fail while looking fabulous doing it. He not building a better world. He hosting the world's most dangerous party in the ruins of this one, while challenging your preconceived notions of masculinity, femininity, and basic human decency. The anti-capitalist growth hacks from hell. Let's analyze Joker's market disruption strategy through an intersectional lens. Viral loops, social experiments as content marketing, proving that under capitalism, we're all just hostages. Engagement. Morality is a feature with poor retention, especially when everyone's just trying to survive. Monetization. Pure chaos, token economics, disrupting late capitalism by refusing to play by its rules. User acquisition. Fear as conversion optimization. The only emotion that still works in attention economy. Brand positioning. Post-ironic chaos. Maximalism with a healthy dose of gender fuckery. Market fit. Late-stage capitalist despair and also queer rage. When he does the pencil trick, that's not violence, that's performance magic, demonstrating the transitory nature of material reality, what the illuminates of Thanateras would call paradigm shifting through dramatic act. But we call content creation at its most unhinged, while also making a point about the fragility of social constructs. Part 4. Bein, the physical manifestation of toxic masculinity, structural violence. This man, the physical embodiment of talk shit, get hit culture that's been weaponized by the patriarchy to keep us all in line. While Batman out here with his little batarangs and liberal reformism, Bein breaking backs and demonstrating what happens when you take red pill rhetoric to a system that rewards and punishes vulnerability. You think darkness your ally? Nah fam, darkness. What happened when the power grid fails because of capitalist neglect and the social safety nets have been systematically dismantled by people who think feelings are for weak liberals. Darkness, the logical conclusion of late-stage capitalism's relentless grind and also toxic masculinity's refusal to address emotional needs in healthy ways. Masculinity and crisis-made flesh. Bein represent that cold, hard reality that sometimes the system need to be broken. You can't reform something that's rotten to its core, a lesson that applies equally to patriarchy as it does to late capitalism. His occupation of Gotham ain't just terrorism. It's a masterclass in accelerationist praxis that's given masculinity so fragile, it has to break other people to feel whole in a world that taught him that vulnerability is weakness. His whole mass situation, that's him having that asthma king energy while still being the most dangerous man in the room, representing how patriarchy harms men too by teaching them that emotional expression is for the feminine, which is apparently bad, and that real men solve problems with their fists instead of their words or, God forbid, their feelings. The patriarchal enterprise solution. Bein's business model breakdown through a feminist lens. Product, structural collapse as service. Smashing the patriarchy one spine at a time. Market fit, late-stage capitalist decay, and masculine insecurity. Scalability, literally breaking backs at scale, while also breaking gender norms. Exit strategy, total system failure of both capitalism and toxic masculinity. Competitive advantage, pure unadulterated violence, the patriarchy's favorite tool, IP. Backbreaking techniques, patent pending, because even revolution gets commodified. When he breaks Batman's back, that's just him demonstrating what it feels like when your favorite situationship finally ends for real, or what we call the physical manifestation of it's not you, it's me. Hidden different when you're paralyzed in a pit somewhere, while also representing the inevitable collapse of patriarchal structures under their own unsustainable weight. Part 5. Catwoman that bad bitch, intersectional feminist economics. Selena Kyle. Understand the fundamental truth. Under patriarchy and capitalism, a girl's got to secure a day bag by any means necessary, especially when the system wasn't designed for women like her to win. She not trying to save the world or destroy it. She trying to get paid and look good doing it, while subtly undermining patriarchal power structures through strategic theft and sexual agency. Qliphothic feminine mystique survival strategies. Her whole will day, won't day thing with that, saturated with emotions open and datingly unavailable men who think therapy is for weak people. She understands that under patriarchy, romantic relationships are often just another form of capital exchange, so she might as well get the best deal possible while maintaining her independence and agency. She that friend who always like, I'm not a hero, I'm not a villain, I'm just a girl trying to get her bag in a system designed to keep her from winning. And honestly, we respect the hustle. Her whole operation, what Day 09A would call acquisitive magic through applied transgression. But what we recognize as survival strategies under patriarchal capitalism when you're a woman trying to eat in a world that wants to consume you instead. To intersectional bag securing economics, Catwoman's revenue streams through a feminist lens. Primary, jewel heists, and art theft, reappropriating wealth from those hoarded. Secondary, emotional manipulation of billionaires, turning patriarchal power dynamics back on themselves. Tertiary, selling Batman's secrets on the dark web. Information capitalism as feminist praxis. Passive income. Instagram sponsorships for her whip. Influencer economy as survival strategy. Investments, diversified villain, hero portfolio. Never put all your eggs in one patriarchal basket. She basically running a lifestyle business where D-lifestyle is criminal elegance with benefits, and also navigating systemic oppression while looking fine as hell doing it. Her whole approach, what socialist feminists would call survival strategies under late capitalism, but what we call getting paid and looking good doing it while the world burns around you. Part 6. Talia Abu, the girl boss, gaslighting or gatekeeping patriarchy. This woman, the ultimate example of what feminist theorists would call strategic essentialism. Their strategic essentialism included daddy issues, global terrorism, and using ancient assassination techniques to get back at your emotionally unavailable situationship. She man need access. You know what is emotional to ancient assassination techniques and my father's global terrorist organization. Basically, the ultimate I can fix him energy. If fixing him meant weaponizing his trauma for your own political agenda while navigating the complex dynamics of being a woman in a patriarchal organization that's literally centuries old. The feminine mystique meets acceleration is terrorism. When she pivots to bein, that's her demonstrating what the Temple of Set would classify as strategic alliance formation within anti-cosmic currents. But what we recognize as that moment, when you realize even girl boss feminism can be co-opted by capitalist and patriarchal structures if you're not careful. And also when your Series A falls through, so you pivot to Dejimbro with better infrastructure. But just as many emotional issues. Her whole League of Shadows inheritance. That's her operating within what the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn would call lineage magic, while simultaneously navigating the complex dynamics of being a woman in a patriarchal organization that's literally centuries old. She the living embodiment of what Da Arcanum of the Baphomet calls the feminine as destructive principle. Or what we call that girl who will literally end civilization, prove a point to her emotionally unavailable situationship, while also demonstrating how women often have to work within patriarchal systems to achieve any kind of power. The intersectional merger acquisition playbook. Talia's corporate strategy through a feminist lens. Target emotionally constipated billionaires, patriarchy's favorite children. Due diligence. Their capacity for chaos magic and emotional availability. Synergies. Combining trauma with ancient assassination tech. The patriarchy's toolkit. Exit. Literal civilizational collapse. When reform isn't enough. Vertical integration. From dating to destroying societies. Girl boss gaslighting. Gatekeeping. Risk assessment. High reward. Higher body count. Patriarchal capitalism's business model. She basically representing the complex position of women who gain power within patriarchal systems. Are they smashing the patriarchy or just becoming its newest, most efficient face? It's given leaning in, but with more swords and existential dread. Part 7. The ultimate truth. We do, in fact, live in a patriarchal capitalist society. At the end of Day, Gotham represent every urban hellscape where Da vibes off and a girl dick energy strong, because the system is literally designed to keep us confused, divided, and fighting each other instead of the actual power structures that oppress us all. We all just choosing which problematic archetype we want to be, while navigating the complex intersections of race, class, gender, and sexual orientation in a world that wants to commodify our identities while simultaneously denying our humanity. Helping the Batman. That rich white guy who thinks he's helping, but is really just perpetuating the system through liberal reformism and emotional constipation. The Joker. That chaotic queer energy that recognizes the whole system is a joke, but can't decide whether to laugh or burn it all down while wearing better makeup than usual. The bein. That toxic masculinity that hurts everyone, including itself, while thinking it's being strong in a world that taught it that violence is the only valid emotion. To Catwoman. That bad bitch just trying to survive and get hers in a world that wasn't designed for her to win, using the only tools available to her. To Talia, that girl boss feminism, that sometimes gets co-opted by the very systems it claims to be fighting, demonstrating the complexity of seeking power within patriarchy. The truth? Everything is girl dick confusing, chaotic, but somehow making more sense than anything else in this patriarchal capitalist hellscape. The vibe shift real, the black pill waiting, and the bat signal flickering, while we're all out here trying to figure out if we're oppressed, oppressors, or just tired of everybody's shit and ready to watch the whole thing burn. Whether you building like Batman's liberal reformism, burning like Joker's queer anarchism, breaking like Bane's toxic masculinity, or just securing the bag like Catwoman's survival feminism, we all just playing our parts in the grand cosmic joke that is late-stage capitalism under patriarchy. The Order of Nine Angles, smiling somewhere, Nick Land nodding from his accelerationist throne, Bell Hooks shaking her head from the great beyond, and we just out here living in the intersectional society. Bottom text. Stay problematic, kings, queens, and theys. The whole multiverse is watching this shit like it's the ultimate episode of Which Side Are You On? While we're all just trying to survive and maybe get free in the process. Epilogue. The intersectional cap table of Day Dan. At the end of Day, every player in Gotham representing a different investment thesis in the grand venture capital fund of patriarchal capitalist reality itself. Whether you're Bruce bootstrapping justice as a service through liberal reformism, Joker disrupting with chaos as a service through queer anarchism, or Bane breaking shit with infrastructure as service through toxic masculinity, you're all just different funds in the same apocalyptic portfolio, navigating a system that wasn't designed for most of you to win. The Order of Nine Angles, watching from their causal like seasoned VCs, Nick Land nodding from his accelerationist throne, Angela Davis side-eyeing from her prison abolitionist perspective. And we just out here trying to survive the burn rate of existence itself while figuring out how to smash the patriarchy without leverage, comrade. The whole multiverse is just one big intersectional cap table waiting for the revolutionary exit. The real Qliphoth was the friends we made along the way, and the trauma bonds we formed navigating systemic oppression together. Now go forth and manifest whatever version of this apocalyptic hellscape resonates with your soul, while remember to check your privilege, and also maybe go to therapy. Just remember, we do, in fact, live in a patriarchal capitalist society. For now, anyway.